And welcome, Trinidad and Tobago. You're listening to the program You and I on PSA on the Street 91.9 FM, hosted by the Public Services Association. We are here Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And with me today is the trusted and reliable comrade Ian Murray.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to all my hard-working public officers out there.
We'd like to also begin by saying good morning to the President, Mr. Watson Duke, and to give a special good morning to the hard-working public officers who are tuned in. Our PSA members, as well as the General Counsel and the staff side representatives, the executive officers and the staff members. And I don't intend to get it wrong this morning, Mr. Bruce Wayne, Batman. He's the man that makes things happen in this studio. Comrades, we dare to say that the program is geared towards highlighting the concerns of public officers and the restoration of the respect and the status of public servants in the public service. Because there appears to be, and we keep reiterating, there appears to be a conspiracy to dismantle this public service. And it is our aim that by bringing this, highlighting the examples and situations facing public officers to you via the weaknesses in the system, we'll be able to stop, reverse, and even slow down the dismantling of the public service.
Yes, folks. This program is an interactive program. We invite you to call in at any time and contribute to the discussion using the following telephone numbers: 622-9154, 622-3303, 631-0219, and 639-0791.
I know that the telephones are working, and already we have a call, and I want to open it up as soon as it is available, because I believe that we would have put sufficient information out there that would help public officers to tune in and make their positive contributions. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I am calling to ask, does the public service know of anything positive that takes place in Trinidad and Tobago? Let's know, fair.
Yes.
You all are so negative.
Very good. I don't have a problem with the question, because there is a kind of conduct that has been taken place over the years whereby public officers continue to keep quiet while they are abused by their managers. And the day it is brought to the fore, people tend to want to say that, hello, is there anything positive taking place? Sure, there are lots of positive things taking place. And while it is that you may find that we are pointing out the ills that has been plaguing the public service, these ills have not been going on yesterday. Public officers have been suffering in silence for the longest while, and the situation of contract work is a clear example of that.
But comrade, it's funny that the caller would call in, very first caller, and call in and talk about that. It's the same citizenry out there that has been complaining about the service that they get from the public service. The public officers cannot speak to the media. They cannot speak out on issues. It is against the law. They can.
It's against the regulations.
Yeah, as well. It's law. They can lose their jobs for that, right? And we, as their representatives, right, instead of just having this perception out there and all this bad, negative vibes coming from the public towards our officers, we now want to give you all the other side of the story.
That is correct.
Let you know why you're getting the type of service you're getting. And now we're highlighting the issues. We have callers like that calling in. But this is not what our program is about. It's about trying to restore that respect for public officers out there, restoring the respect in the entire public service, as well as to try to correct that perception that the public have out there of our hard-working public officers.
Public officers have been diligently doing their jobs. In fact, when you see the performance records of some public servants with 20, 30-something years of service and unblemished performance, their appraisal speaks for itself, which would allow some of them to reach the highest level in the public service. Nobody, at least the public, is not aware that the kind of abuse that some of them have been subjected to.
And the sacrifices some of them make.
Yeah.
On a daily basis.
So the objective here, and caller, I understand how you feel, because you might think that, and it might not be your view alone, that it is negative. But if we don't take this approach and highlight it, I am telling you, it is not going to be improved. In fact, as I was closing yesterday, the PSA was alluding to the fact that the grievance procedures and the disputes procedures all run into a stone wall in terms of resolution and determination of same. And it is that kind of stonewalling on the part of some of the agencies to deal with issues that affect public servants as in the course of their duties that has caused us to take this approach.
And comrade, let's get straight into it this morning, right? Let's draw an example. Let's put an example out there of some of the things plaguing public officers. Let's take a group of officers by the name of guidance officers in the public service.
Yes, the guidance officers.
Right? They go to schools and so on.
And the guidance officers, I really want to give the full breadth of it, but I see the lines are lighting up. Good morning. Let's hope it is constructive. Good morning. Yeah, you need to up the volume a bit here because it's on a whisper on this end. We can't hear you here.
The union doesn't run service to the public, right, and workers on them in the country. What I would like to find out is why does it take so long sometimes when you're dying to get your enumeration packages? Whoever somebody died for your mistake.
Yes.
Right? Thank you for the time. Listen up.
Excellent question, and comrade, you would that caller really alludes to the issue of public officers not getting their pensions on time, and some of them having to wait as much as 3 years to get their pensions, when the Pensions Act ensures that the day a public officer demits office and receives his last pay, the next month he's supposed to be receiving his pension. And clearly, the reason why public officers are not being able to receive their pensions on time is because the system at the Comptroller of Accounts Division is so fraught with deficiencies that it affects service delivery.
Short staff, no succession planning, no training. It's not easy, and not to mention the HR units in the different ministries. Again, they as well short staff, no proper succession planning, and then you have the politicians compounding it by every time a government change, they change in ministries, they change divisions to put them under other ministries. They disband some ministries altogether, or they create new ones, and people's files just keep going all over the place.
That is the kind of ups and downs that the internal systems in the public service are exposed to, that causes part of the problems leading to public officers or retirees not being able to get their pensions on time. And I certainly hope it answers your question, caller. But we were going to talk about one of the things that plague public officers, and we were referring to the guidance officers.
Yes, they go to the schools and deal with the children when they have issues and so on.
Guidance officers, that is their responsibility.
Right. I have here agreement, circular memorandum coming from the Chief Personnel Officer to the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Education since January 9, 2004. The subject is the revised terms and conditions of employment for guidance supervisors and guidance officers 2s and 1s.
And what date is that?
This is since the 9th of January 2004.
Okay.
Right? I wish to inform you that following consultation and negotiations with the Public Services Association, the appropriate recognized association, on revised terms and conditions of employment of officers in the civil service, it has been agreed that, with effect from October 1st, 2003, a communication allowance of $200 per month shall be payable to the following categories of officers who utilize their cell phones in the performance of their duties: guidance supervisors and guidance officers 2 and 1.
Excellent. We have a caller. Caller, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning,
sir.
Yes, this is the PSA program.
It is.
Okay, I was told that the Ministry of Health had provided alternative facilities for the Chemistry, Food and Drug Division, but the PSA was a stumbling block in the process, and that is why the labs are still closed. Could you elaborate on that for me, please? Thank you.
That is not all true, right? If memory serves me correct, the Chemistry, Food and Drugs Division had to be closed down at 116 because the entire second floor was perforated and was on the verge of collapse, right? They tried to use there's a place in Leslie Park there. I forget the name of it right now, but they tried to carry the labs, some of the labs, not all, because they couldn't host all there. And the officers themselves in the labs raised certain questions about the dangers when they're doing testing and the ventilation and so on. And the place where they wanted to put them, in that alternative arrangement you are speaking about, was not equipped to have labs to do the type of testing that the Chemistry, Food and Drugs Division do.
And I want to make it clear that it is the responsibility of the recognized association to ensure that wherever public servants are to be housed to be able to perform their jobs, that it must meet certain standards of safety and health.
A lot of issues about cross contamination and the central vent was not supposed to be, because whatever you're testing at lab area is supposed to be confined to that area and not going through any air vent and going into the next place and next thing, whatever it is they're testing, contaminate another area. Those were the issues that were raised.
And it was never resolved.
Right? And the last thing we heard would have been about 2 to 3 years ago, that all they needed, the facilities manager and myself had a discussion, all they needed at the time was $3 million to complete the proper home for them up at, I think it's 116 Henry or Frederick Street up there where they were. Right, to complete that building and have all the labs up and running, right? But for some reason, the government can't find $3 million, but they were willing to spend $2 million, right, to set up just 2 or 3 labs down in that place, which was inadequate.
And that is the kinds of mischief that one has to take into account when these things are happening. Because service delivery, and at the end of the day, the safety of the citizenry of this country is clearly dependent on the institutions of the public service.
And I didn't want to get distracted, but, you know, sometimes these things happen, right? Just yesterday, in the Express, I believe it was, yes, the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Fisheries also received and considered the advice made by the Chief Medical Officer of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Rohan Parasram, which was based on the results of tests conducted by the Chemistry, Food and Drug Division on samples of corned beef imported from Brazil prior to the March 21st restriction. The CMO advised that the test revealed that these samples were safe and that the product standards were in keeping with international accepted criteria for food safety. Furthermore, samples of corned beef were visually examined and no visible signs of damage or rusted cans observed. Also, the labels were in compliance with the requirements of Section 16 of the Food and Drugs Regulations. The release stated, the ministry has advised the Ministry of Health to discontinue the recall of meat products imported from Brazil prior to March 21st, following the decision to lift the restriction on Brazilian imported meats. Now, from the time people from Food and Drugs Division, the public officers working there, see this article, they want to know, well, how somebody could just watch a tin and watch a label and pass these things. Yes. People more interested in what inside the tin.
Yes, the content.
You understand?
Yes.
And I have information that no such test was done at the Chemistry, Food and Drugs Division.
And the public, at the end of the day, is the one suffers.
Well, I certainly won't be eating no corned beef in a hurry, I could tell you that one.
But that we expect to explore as time go by, because the union has a role and we are going to carry out our responsibility with the degree of energy required for there to change the system for the betterment of the citizenry of this country. So, but we were talking about the guidance officers.
Yes. This allowance, the $200 that they're supposed to be receiving since October 1st, 2003, the allowance is to be paid only where an officer owns a cell phone or makes available to his or her divisional head and or such officer designated by the permanent secretary his or her cell phone number for purpose of maintaining contact. The monthly communication allowance shall be payable during periods of normal sick leave and casual leave not exceeding 7 consecutive working days, but shall not be payable during leave of any other kind.
And these people have not received their allowance?
Well, the allowance started and they paid them all the way up to 2008. And since 2008, for some reason, right, not one single
guidance officer
or guidance supervisor or guidance officer 2 has received their communication allowance since 2008.
Yet these officers continue to perform their duties.
That's 9 years.
And I will tell you, comrade, it is not only guidance officers experiencing that, and it is not only situations with their cell phone allowance or their communication allowance, because you have traveling allowance.
No, well, yes, no. the traveling regulation is clear, but we have a caller?
Yeah, let's take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning. I have heard conversations regarding the Service Commission and filling of vacancies and whatnot. Mm-hmm. We know that the Service Commission uses a seniority listing. Mm-hmm. Why is it this listing is under such lock and key? Because I am positive if investigations are done, we would realize the mischief and commerce that has taken place with this seniority listing. Junior persons appointed ahead of senior people something needs to be done. Why is it this seniority listing is so confidential?
Yes. Yes.
And really and truly, it is not a confidential document.
No, it should be shared. But we have another caller. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good
Yes.
morning, sir.
I am on the air.
Yes, you are.
I would like to get on to Mark Anthony Scott. Is this a possibility?
Mark Anthony,
No,
that is downstairs. I
you
have to go
call
somewhere
downstairs.
else.
Yeah.
That seniority listing should be open and available to all public officers.
As a matter of fact, my substantive is in the government printry. And that was a document that used to be published probably every 2 or 3 years. It used to be a very thick document, which we used to call it the Public Service Bible.
That is correct. I recall that.
It
Yes.
included every single post that existed in the public service, the names of the officers and their positions that they hold. And you would know when each officer was first appointed in the service and so on, so that you had a idea exactly where you lie in the seniority
list. And that kind of information ought to, for the purpose of ensuring that public officers know where they stand in the listing, ought to have been available to the association as well.
You see, comrade, when the commission, again, delegated some of its powers to these permanent secretaries, that is where the confusion started. And then what you had happening is that acting would come up in ministries and they wouldn't go to the commission and ask for who's the next senior person. They would just give the acting to whoever it is they have in their ministry. Now, a clerk is a generic job. You can work in any ministry across
the service.
The service, right? Once you are the senior person. But that's not happening. We have temporary clerk ones acting all the way up to AO2 in some instances.
Yes.
That's like 5 and 6 positions above where they are. And they're not even permanent in the system yet. That is what it has reached to.
Yes, and most of them end up retiring and not getting their appointments, their permanent appointments.
Yeah, that's right.
What is the Service Commission doing? Why are these people sitting on their cushy seats and not ensuring that the functions that they would have devolved, that it is properly monitored? We have another caller. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Hello?
And I am clear that if the Service Commission had the energy to manage this human resource called the public service, we wouldn't be fraught with so many problems, you know.
The funny thing is that even back in the 60s and 70s, yeah, dare say the early 80s, where it didn't even have the kind of technology it have now. The system used to function properly.
It used to work very well. What has changed? Is it that the policy makers think it is in the best interest of their narrow stakeholders to dismantle the public service? We have another caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Something is happening there, but don't worry. I think you need to do something on your end. We are willing to take your call.
Now these same guidance officers, Comrade Joe, they are also traveling officers in scheduled traveling positions and entitled to a vehicle upkeep as well as a kilometric allowance.
I think we may need to tell the public what vehicle upkeep and these things mean.
Well, vehicle upkeep is self-explanatory, right? Public officers not supposed to use a vehicle and be out of pocket.
Yeah.
Right? But we have a caller on the line.
Good. Good morning and welcome.
Morning.
Yes.
I have a question. Is it safe to eat corned beef?
Ma'am, that would be your decision. My personal view is I am not comfortable eating corned beef at this time. Most imported products, because as a member of the executive of the PSA, I'm aware of what is taking place in the Chemistry, Food and Drugs Division, right? And I personally believe that a lot of the foods and things that are being imported in this country not being properly tested, you know. So you have to be, it's your call. It's a judgment call.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, for the public service to work as efficiently as it should be, you have to put in the infrastructure. You need to ensure that all the staffing and the training required for the confidence of the citizenry of this country not to be compromised, those things need to be addressed.
Yes, comrade. And back to this, these guidance officers. Once you are required to keep a vehicle to do your job, right? The government, through an agreement, pays you a traveling allowance and a vehicle upkeep, right? Your vehicle upkeep is a standard figure.
That is to
negotiated.
Take care of your vehicle
it's part
as
of
you
your
do your
terms
job.
and conditions, and it should be paid with your salary, right? These officers are using their vehicles. Now, most of you out there that have vehicles know that it's a serious expense to maintain it.
Yes.
Right? These officers haven't received their traveling allowance or their vehicle upkeep since 2014. Right? And they continue to do the government work with their vehicles.
Nobody
right?
knows
But nobody
that
hearing that.
Yes.
And nobody is seeing that. And they can't say nothing on the air, but they're getting licks. You understand?
And you are saying, why? Tell us, is there anything positive happening? Why are we being so negative? Why are the systems not functioning in the public service so that public officers can do their jobs with the degree of professionalism that is required?
Gas raised 3 or 4 times since 2014.
And nobody can complain. And
tires going up, everything going up. You understand? You had to buy gas, you had to buy oil.
And we didn't protest.
Maintain your vehicle.
And we didn't protest. That is what that is what the
minister said. You think this place easy?
Right? And public officers continue to work with that commitment. You see, it appears as though everything is all right. It's like the duck on the paddling quietly above, moving smoothly on the river. But below the water, he's struggling. We have another caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Gentlemen, morning. Can you tell me where the funds coming from to pay for these programs on this station and on 95?
I genuinely believe that the intent behind the call doesn't deserve the response.
Why did you ask the other unions who have programs on the air? Right? Why did you want to ask them that?
Yeah.
We doing what our members has mandated us to do, represent them.
No, you
right?
see.
And I'm quite certain that you are not a member.
Comrades, these people, and there is a kind of psychology behind abuse. Once you continue to take abuse quietly and you don't complain, that is okay.
But this is an association.
And we have to do what we need to do to seek our members' interest. Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning. Is this the radio program?
It is.
Yes, you and I on PSA.
Pardon?
Yes.
I on PSA, the radio program.
Hi, good morning. Could you tell me who in Chemistry, Food and Drugs is responsible for passing the corned beef?
Oh, well, that is the same question that I would like answered this morning, because
I would listen off the air.
Yes, that is the same question that I would like answered this morning, but we were just quoting from a newspaper article, an online article at the Express.
Yes.
Right? And they are saying that the Chemistry, Food and Drug Division, right, tests the corned beef and say that it is safe. Right? I don't know. People who I spoke to,
yes,
from the Chemistry, Food and Drug Division, tell me they didn't test no corned beef.
Exactly. We have another caller. Yes, good morning. Keep it constructive. Bring it.
Gentlemen, you wanted to say I'm not a member of the PS.
And we have no difficulty with it.
Yeah, we don't know who called in.
We don't have a difficulty with it. What we are saying is, if you have a challenge with the approach that is being taken to defend your interest, take it up at a different quarter. Good morning. Good morning, you're on the air.
Morning, you must dialogue. Don't hang up on the callers. That's bad. You're behaving like if you can't handle yourself.
Good.
I used to be a member of the General Council of the Public Services Association, gentlemen.
All right.
Lovely. And therefore, you, as the caller, ought to know that when it is necessary, the PSA devises strategies that will be used in the interest of its membership and the public service at large and the citizenry of this country. I want for most of us who seem to be only seeing right in front of their noses, that the bigger picture here is the standard of living and the quality of life of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. If it is you can't see that and you can't understand the responsibility that the state has through the very public service and the public officers that are to make these things happen, well, then there needs to be a review of your assessment. Because this is not about bashing anybody. It's about getting the systems to work so that the citizens don't end up getting poisoned in some way, that healthcare costs don't go up, that education and these things don't suffer. And the public officer has that duty. That is what the whole system is about.
A healthy workforce is a productive one as well. Eh?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
I'm calling on concern about the illegal aid.
Illegal?
Illegal what?
Illegal office affairs, legal affairs.
Oh,
legal affairs.
Legal affairs. Yes.
Yeah. Because it have we have to check on these immigrants that coming into Trinidad and go in there with false documents to get Trinidad people to do what they want in our country.
Yes.
Because I experienced in the illegal affairs.
Yes, in the illegal
affairs.
Okay,
I like how you put it.
I like the play on it. Yes.
Illegal affairs. And I reached there early morning, which we stayed downstairs in a room. And when the person told us it's time to go upstairs, I was traumatized by, I didn't even know she was a Ghanese. And I started to talk about these people, these Ghanese only come in here, and they want, when they reach in that place, they want to be first instead of last. So, well, she picked me up on the issue about Ghanese and this, and she started to open up her mouth. And boy, she talk in her language. I going to take all the Trinidad papers I want. I have to get all the Trinidad papers. But it's the thing that they get in the Trinidad document with false papers. Because in Sani Grande here, we have a taxi stand route from Grande to Arima. And if you see I'm a 7-seater, and the majority, some of them is immigrants.
Yes.
I don't know how to call them, you know, if it's immigrants outside or what.
Yes.
But I'm putting them as immigrants.
Yes.
And tell me when and how they get documents to go in the licensing office.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller.
Because whether we like it or not, the public service gets the blame, you know. The authorities.
They say Barracuda make a name, but Shark get the blame.
At the end of the day, if it is these people are not legal, how are they able to operate services in this country?
And I got to say, again, when you strain a system the way you strain it with short staff and all these ills that plague in it, right? All you do is perforate the system and allow a lot of cracks and places for things to slip through and so on.
And for what appears to be corruption, because look at the this utility called water service. They say that people are buying water as much as $1,000 a gallon or something like that.
Understand,
right?
It's
corruption. Yes. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My input this morning is that good morning to the panel, first of all.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
It's apparently the immigration system is not performing as it ought to, because when you go to another country, the immigration has to deliver you into somebody's hands and they are responsible for you. And the computer system says how long, or remembers how long they have given you to stay, and then when that time comes, they look for you or they check up on you.
Right.
They just come into this country helter-skelter, and all of them work in security with some security company.
Mm-hmm.
And then the revenue doesn't stay here, the revenue goes to their country.
Thank you.
No, I don't know who working with the security company, but I can assure you, not immigration officers, right?
No, not immigration officers. The immigrants, as the lady was referring to in the call before,
Yes.
that the immigration department not doing the work efficiently. They're supposed to be keeping tabs on them, and if they come for a vacation, then they're not supposed to be able to work, and when the vacation time is over, then they're supposed to be,
well, that is,
and let them go back home.
Yes.
That is what we're speaking about, ma'am.
Yes.
What is taking place is that this immigration, this immigration department is strained, right? But we have an executive officer from the immigration department, and we will take an entire program to treat with immigration and let you know what it is taking place inside of there.
But, comrade,
right?
You see, the situation that a lot of civil servants face and the public officers is that once the vacancies remain unfilled, you either overload the employee or you have to bring in a contract worker. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Well, if the Trinidadians have problems with the security work and all other grocery work, why is it when other islanders people come here to work? What is the problem? We work for it anyway because they don't want to work for it. They're making all kind of problem and styles. We need to work because the country, the world is hard. That's my contribution. I would want to work anywhere.
Yes.
No, we not. I don't think the caller was saying that it is illegal for a CARICOM citizen to work in any one of the CARICOM countries. What she was speaking about are the ones who are here illegally, right?
Yes.
Illegally. That is what
right.
she was speaking about,
Yeah.
and getting through and getting with false papers and all these things, and that ought not to be happening in the public service, right? But because of the number of issues that are taking place in the public service and the strain and the short staff, these cracks, people slipping through the cracks.
Good morning. We have another caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
My contribution is, right? These people, these same set of people that come in here and work, when we're supposed to get 10 cents or whatever, they're willing to work for 6 cents. All right? It is putting a strain on the economy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you. That's another aspect.
Yes. And I am telling you, where public officers are concerned, we are working on the 3-year period. That would be 20.
Yeah. 14 to 16.
2014 to 16
has not been paid yet. We're still on 2013 salaries. And we enter a new period, which is 17 to 19. And no, the CPO hasn't called us to the table as yet. So people are working on 2013 salaries. You could remember how much a sandwich loaf was in 2013? And how much it is now? Well, the U.S. was about $6.25 in 2013, but I saw the papers yesterday, and it's $6.75 now, right? So what you could have, the amount of U.S. you could have bought with your money in 2013, right? You can't buy that in 2017,
significantly lower,
right? And when they do give us it, it certainly ain't looking like this year.
You have to stand in a line for it. You know, as you say that, I went to a bank, what date was? and I went to cash a check, and they said, hello, we have made some changes. You're now going to charge you $15 for cashing any check. So if I go in there with a $20 check to cash, they take in $15. I leave in with $5. Good morning.
We lost that
caller. But that is the kind of extreme profits some of these financial institutions are making without any regard for your own benefit at the end of the day. Because you're telling me that I have to pay to cash a check. If you give me a check and I go to the bank and I go to cash that check, I have to pay $15.
And they want to come and attack the credit unions and them, you know, they want
I have to pay
them
$15 for cashing that check when it's money that I am owed. It is my money. But if I go to the bank
they want to bring legislation to regularize credit unions and make them like banks.
But
anything poor people have and it working good.
It is sad, but I see another caller. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
If it is, the CPO has not called to negotiate salary for 14 to 16. Why is it the PSA not doing anything about that? Because I am saying not to take that kind of behavior.
I agree with you. And I will tell you this, sister, thank you for your contribution. The reality is that in a democratic society, you really have these institutions or groups that's supposed to keep some kind of order. And we represent, caller, we'll have to give you a little time, but I hope you could hold on. We represent your interest by the CPO calling us and meeting. Now, if they don't call us, you know what we will have to do? Call you. And all of you, all 35,000 of you have to assemble at St. Vincent Street. I am sure nobody wants that. Caller, good morning. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes.
Good morning. My question is that who does actually do the testing on the who is or will be doing the testing on the food and the corn beef that are coming into the country?
Well, my information is that there is a division of the Ministry of Health called the Chemistry, Food and Drugs Division, and they are the public officers that's supposed to be testing all foodstuff and drugs that come into this country to know whether it is safe or not, right? There are certain tests that are very sensitive, and only person trained in that area knows how to conduct these tests.
That is
and
correct.
The longer they allow this division to be done, right, the more danger I believe the population will be with regards to imported food into this country. All right?
Yes. Thank you very much, caller. The fact of the matter is, if it is that you haven't met with the representative union of the staff of the public service, the CPO runs the very serious risk of having every public officer walk out of their office on a given day and come up to St. Vincent Street and ask, what is the problem? How is it that you have not started discussions on my salary for the new period? Because the period has passed.
But I also want to tell the caller, the union is not just the 13 members that you elect to office or every 4 years, as the case may be. The union is every single member in the union. And if we return to the days when we were united in solidarity,
yes, definitely,
and we make a call on you guys to come out to fight an injustice, if you don't come out, the government won't listen. They will laugh.
Yes. Caller, good morning. Sorry about that. You can try again. As we said, we are here to try to bring to the attention of the nation the ills that face the public service, so that accusations of people paying money for water that they shouldn't be paying for
We have a caller.
Will no longer be an issue. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Something always running through my mind, and I want to point past all it because I feel you guys will be able to give me the best possible answer when it comes to this. Let me say, next 9 years, a nice 3 negotiations for you all. Things should end up really bad that it really have no money. To raise no salaries and to give nobody no more back pay and all these set of things. What's going to happen? What will take place after that? And secondly, I really, really would like if public servants would start to, let me say, protest for the right set of things. Honest to God, I really would like it. And you see that same solidarity thing all you're talking about there? After Butler, I don't know what they do, but like they stress all in the best way possible. They stress the trade unions and them. I feel everybody get buyout. But give me a little answer on the first question, please, if you can.
Well, what I know that we will find ourselves having to do is to end up in the court where these periods are piling up, and if we enforce this commitment that the employer has towards their employees, I have 1 more minute. What we could find ourselves is being saddled with
But what I think the caller was alluding to, negotiations is not just about money. But to negotiate, you must be called to a table and sit and discuss. It have other benefits that we can negotiate for, but you must be able to sit and negotiate. If you're not calling me to negotiate, we can't work out anything.
Yeah.
It's not only about money.
We are at that point where we have to say
a goodbye.
But we'll be back tomorrow. It is you and I on PSA. Keep your calls coming. Keep it constructive because it's in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago. It's in the interest of the image and the efficiency of the public service. And, of course, you, the ordinary public servant. Have a good day.